Play that funky bass, man.
How you doing, everybody?
Fantastic.
Come on, make some noise. A celebration. We're here for some love, and we're gonna change some frequencies in this room today. I think that might be kind of cool. This is your transformation station right here. That's Deborah Potts, everybody. Deborah. Danny Rio on the other side. This is Austin Perry. Danny Rio. Austin Perry back here. Be familiar with Lisa Lee is our spiritual leader here at Unity of Las Vegas, and we're glad to see you. Where are we at?
And John Jones.
I want to invite you to make sure those telephones are off, silent, vibrate, whatever that needs to be, so it doesn't ring. And if you feel like moving around a little bit, you like to have a little dancey. Anybody like to have a little motion? Little dance kind of energy going on here. We're going to get that going right here, right now with Deborah Potts and Danny Rio and Transformation Station. Hit it, you guys, whatever you want. Or you want to say anything, Deborah? You guys have been off for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Hope everyone is doing well this morning. How's everybody doing? Good.
Count it, baby.
All right, let's do it. Go ahead.
1, 2, 3.
Come on now.
Gonna
so delighted that you are here with us today. And I'd like to begin by acknowledging those that are online and welcoming you. And we do not see you with our physical eyes, but we feel you with our heart. And we acknowledge all the ways that you are already contributing to the amazing magic that is going to happen during this time in this space. And I would like to invite anyone who is here for the very first time to stand up. I know this is a very brave thing to do. So we'll not keep standing. I'm not going to ask you actually to say anything. But we do have some gifts for you. I'd like to begin by specifically welcoming Wally White. So delighted that you're here. He's going to be our guest speaker today. And already feel the amazing energy of that. So thank you so much for being here. And so what we are doing is we are giving you many gifts. That is our goal for our time together. The first is the welcome packet that you just received. And that will tell you a little bit about Unity as a movement, and then who we are in particular at Unity of Las Vegas. And so now we have an energetic blessing for you. So I invite everyone here to rub your hands together and repeat after me. We see who you are.
We see who you are.
You are a magnificent divine creation.
You are a magnificent divine creation.
We love you.
We love you.
We bless you.
We bless you.
And we behold the light that you are.
And we behold the light that you are.
Thank you so very much for being here with us today. And now this is our time for our in-house Sangha to greet each other in the way that you love to do best, because we are all friends here.
3.
Just the way you are. You do not have to change a thing. And Lisa said the word magic a couple of times. The magic is that spirit will transform you into a greater being of love and light. So my name is Don Fouts. I am honored to be part of your service, and I'm here for the thank yous and the invitations. And the first thank you goes to Michael Davitt, who does the opening mic listening room. They had it on Friday, and spectacular time. There were some new people. And how about Marianne Williamson here? Wow, what an evening that was. And not that we sponsor, but there's a love and support. And one of the things that is a weekly reminder is that unity is founded in prayer. And today we have a workshop that we're going to talk about after that is a unity foundation, the 12 powers. But if you come here and you need prayer, if you're online and you need prayer, you could go to Unity Village. Silent Unity is there to pray with you. And if you're in the audience, after service, we could sit with a one-on-one prayer chaplain, and you're invited. Just let an usher know. But we have an identity and a purpose statement. We can say those together today. Our identity: we are family for each other, welcoming, nurturing, and awakening one another at depth. And our purpose: birthing the new human as the face of evolving love on the planet. And what a treat that is. So our invitations, we have ongoing events on Mondays, A Course in Miracles. Yes, A Course in Miracles, spectacular group of people, and very miracle-minded. If you join them, you will be supported. They meet at 5:30 tomorrow, right here live, and on Zoom at 6 o'clock. You can get the Zoom registration link on our website. And then on Wednesdays, we have midweek inspiration at 1 o'clock. This is Zoom only. Again, the link is available. The invitation to the Zoom is on the website. And it really is a in-depth look at the week's message, a special reading, and it is a great time to celebrate this movement birthing the new human. So we have an Enneagram follow-up class next Saturday. There is a sign-up sheet Tom has put together, and this is kind of a follow-up to the spring session, which was an introduction, but it's also an invitation for those of you that aren't familiar with the Enneagram, and we'll have an introduction to it. So sign up. We'll be here next Saturday, 10 to noon, and I'm really excited. I'm the presenter, and the material for this Saturday is really special. We have a summer membership meeting on August 20th, so we'll be staying after service on that's next week?
Yes.
Is that 2 weeks?
Next week.
Next week.
Next
Plan to
week.
stay after. It's going to be a brief board meeting. We've got something we need the membership to vote on. And so put that on your calendar to hang out for a few minutes after service. And then the 27th, you're not even going to be here at 11:30. You're going to come at 10 because Daniel Namond is here. And so both CSL and Unity will join in one service at 10 a.m. And then there'll be a concert afternoon. In addition, there's a potluck. So we're going to have service, we're going to have food, and then we're going to have a concert. And this is be a really good time. And so that's the 27th. And we have a event with Michelle and John, and that is the composers at the Smith Center in what is it, Myron's? Myron's Cabaret.
Yep, it's the Composer Showcase, which is put on by Keith. And now you put me on the spot. I can't think of his last name, but that's all right. And that's this Wednesday.
It's this Wednesday.
It is
Okay.
this Wednesday.
So
Yeah.
you can get
I don't know if there are tickets available. Sometimes you can get them last minute kind of thing if somebody drops out, but those
you think
shows
it might be
usually
sold
show.
out?
It might be
It might be,
sold out.
okay.
I haven't looked on the website.
And that's the same thing for Michelle Roll's Cosmic Blues show on the 25th. That is sold out, but on the day of the show, they release reserve tickets. And so on the 16th, join Michelle and John at the Composers. And on the 25th, Michelle Roll will do her Janis Joplin Cosmic Blues, and that's fantastic. And we are going to cool off at our third annual summer picnic at Lee Canyon. And we have maps. I have a map here. There are maps out on the table. And it is at the Foxwood picnic area. We have a fully covered campground space. And so whether the sun's beating down or if we get some rain, we've got it handled. So it's a potluck. Reverend Jim will be cooking chicken. His famous chicken is spectacular. And so we'll look forward to that. And there's one more slide here, and I think it's Wally. What do we got Wally is going to talk to us, but the next one, I am so personally excited about the 12 Powers workshop that you're going to do after service, 1:15 to 2:30. So it's not a real long workshop, but the 12 Powers of Charles Fillmore is akin to me to the 7 chakras. So inside of the universe that is us, we have intelligence centers. And Wally, you're going to take us through some of that. Really excited about that. So plan to come back at 1:15. Thank you so much.
Very nice.
Thank you, Don. Hey, repeat after me here. When the walls come tumbling down,
When the walls come tumbling down,
I choose joy.
I choose
Oh, come on,
joy.
say it again. When the walls come tumbling down, I choose joy.
Here we go. 1, 2, you know what to do.
Right on. Little clap your hands, stop the beat, come on.
Stand up.
When the walls come tumbling down, I choose joy. I choose joy. When the world stops spinning round, I choose joy. I choose joy. But I too move when my music lost the groove. When I have too much to prove, I choose joy. I choose joy. And when hate is all I see, I choose joy. What do you choose? That's right. Let fear let me be. I choose joy. I choose joy. Yes, you do. Let me trail that light. I delight from mine. I am good to the sky. I choose joy. I choose joy. Joy, joy, joy. I choose joy. In this moment, right here, I choose joy. I choose joy. For the ones that I hold dear, I choose joy. I choose joy. Think who helps me for the light to shine in me. For everybody to be free, I choose joy. I choose joy. Joy, joy, joy. I choose joy. Break it down, man. Unstable ground, peace and hope abound. I hear the sweetest sound, angels come on down. Love is all around when I choose joy. In this moment right here, I choose joy. I choose joy. For the ones that I hold dear, I choose joy. I choose joy. Think who helps me for the light to shine in me. Everybody to be free. I choose joy. I choose joy. Everybody to be free. I choose joy. Good job, Transformation Station. Somebody come up here and talk about some joy. Is that you, Al?
That's me.
I think Al's one of the most joyous fellows I happen to know, actually.
He's in to be excited today, folks. We're going to get to hear this amazing man. If you haven't had a chance to meet him yet, oh my goodness, you are just bursting with joy, Wally. Can't wait. Now, here's what I want to do. We're going to do this daily word for today, which is very, very easy because of the mood already we've created, right? It's called excitement. So when we say the affirmation, can we say it with excitement?
Yes.
In other words, not, I am an active participant in this exciting life. Let's hear it, everybody, okay? I am an active participant in this exciting life. Somebody missed exciting in there. One more time. I am an active participant in this exciting life. Each new day. Think of those circumstances as I read this, folks, that bring you joy and excitement every day. All right? Each new day, the sun rises on a world full of wonders, from the magnificence of the natural world to the many fascinating things there are to learn and the many displays of creativity that surround me. I can find so much to capture my interest and kindle my excitement. When I shrink from life, when my interest in exploration wanes, I can lose my zeal and passion. My involvement is the key. To regain my excitement, I become an active participant in life. I break out of comfortable habits and routines. I try new things and meet new people. If this is intimidating, I remind myself God is everywhere and in everyone. As I explore, I am opening myself to more and more of the divine. As my interest grows, a bigger world awaits me. And from Psalm 150, verse 6, let everything that breathes praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
Very nice.
All right, Al.
Thank you.
Tuesday. 1, 2, 3.
The first time I came to Unity in Las Vegas, the music department blew it away, and that's what brought me back. And then it was a message, but Transformation Station, thank you. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, just a mirror for you, brother.
Something like that.
Just a bunch of mirrors up here. That's what we should call it, the mirrors. Like that.
The mirrors. Well, the mirror that you have called forth with the name of Wally White. When I Googled him, last week, or the first week that I was preparing for the announcement, I recognized that there was something in your story that was very interesting. So the details are, he's a writer, he's a musician, he's a producer. Now, I've been in the Unity Ministerial Program, and when you become licensed as a minister out of that program, you have accomplished something. They don't make it easy, but they shouldn't. And it's incredibly transformative. And so I recognize you in that. And I also got a sense that you might be a political activist, though it didn't really specifically say that. But Wally, come on up.
Hello, everybody. I have run for office before, but we won't talk about that. Twice, but I lost both times. But also, when I first came into my first Unity church, it was in Los Angeles, and it was a church that was founded by Della Reese. And there was a 25 person, predominantly black gospel choir. I started calling it that because I started singing in it, and I'm like, well, it's not all black, because, I'm there. And but it was that music that we would take, like, really a lot of, like, more of the traditional black gospel songs that you could pull up today and listen to, but that has old language in it, and we would shift in the new thought message into it. And so I did that for 10 years, and like, I feel like so much of what I learned that we'll talk about later in the workshop, like the 12 powers, I really first learned the 12 powers because I had to memorize the colors first, because we didn't wear robes. We wore the color of the month, plus either white or black, depending on the time of year, and then we would sing about all these principles that we teach, and so I really learned so much of it musically first. I want to thank Lisa for having me here and not just saying stop bothering me, because I kept, hey, I want to come to Las Vegas, and when I come, can I? So thank you so much for having me, and thank you all for having me. My first time in Las Vegas was in 1987. We drove my brother from North Carolina out here to go to UNLV, and after and I grew up in a small town where I'm currently back, we did these 3.5 days of driving, and then we go into the Imperial Palace and we give our bags. They say, just give them to the bellman. Well, we didn't do that in a little town I grew up, and then they were like, all right, then where do we park? Well, you drive around and then the valet. And so we did that. We didn't do that either. And so then and we were on the elevator now going up, and I said to my mom, I'm like, we've driven for 3.5 days, and in a matter of minutes, we've just handed off all of our clothes and the car to people we do not know. I hope this works out okay. So anyway, and then my first job out of college was at the Dunes Hotel. For Debbie Reynolds did a 2-week show to celebrate her 60th birthday in 1992, and I was out selling her souvenirs. If you were standing in line waiting to get in, I was trying to hawk you something or another. So anyway, so I love Vegas, and thank you all for having me. So today's lesson that I entitled it, Pay Attention, and I'll read you exactly what I wrote as the description, because that is my intent. So I had someone say, I can't wait to hear what you're going to say today, and I said, me too. Because these are always suggestions. It may go, I have a better idea of what I'm going to say than you all do, but it goes in directions. So here is the intent for today, which is, it is important to be aware of our surroundings, both in our environment and in our thinking. Knowing our past informs our future, but we get to decide when it's time for a change. Choosing what we give our attention to often determines our successes and our continued challenges. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I think it's important when we, look, my prayer is always, when I'm speaking, I hope that you're inspired by something. And oftentimes, probably not by anything very specifically that I said, but simply that while I was talking, it inspired you of whatever you need to be thinking about for whatever it is you've got on your to-do list of things that you aspire to get done. Or, you know, it's like it can be the aspirational stuff, or it can just be that one thing that you've been walking past for the last month or 6 months, and you're like, I really do want to get that done. Like this, you know, that you get the inspiration of like, yes, I want to get that off of my list, or yes, I want to get movement towards this other thing, and that sort of thing. So to get us all in a shared space, I'm going to do a song. That's an Eddie Watkins Jr. song that most of you have probably heard, I Am the Place Where God Shows Up, because I think it's really important as we start working on what we're going to manifest and how we think about it and how we put it into action, that we recognize who and what we're working with right within our own beings. So I invite you to sing along too. The chorus is catchy. Switching.
Living this thing called life. Am I wise enough to make the right decisions as I'm standing at the fork in the road? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I have to do on my own. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. Will I have enough to do the things I need to do to take care of myself? Will I have enough of mind and body to live a life of grace and holiness? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I can do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God. You are the place. We are the place where God shows up. I am the place where God. You are the place. We are the place where God shows up. I am the place where God moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up.
Thank you all. Thank you all. That was awesome. So I hope you enjoyed the song and the entertainment of the song, but I really hope that you get to that place that you paid attention to something that, like, when you turned your attention to it, turned on within you, which is that God that is within you. You know, so I started out spirituality in a Southern Baptist church in a small town in North Carolina, so it took me a long time to to get past the outside God, the judgy, the sending me to warm places. And I brought myself to Las Vegas on purpose. But it's warm here and still beautiful and magnificent in all ways, right? So, to get to that place of the saying that has helped me the most, that we used to say every Sunday in church, and then like when I was really going through some stuff when I was living in Los Angeles, like on my hikes, I'd be hiking up that hill towards Hollywood sign saying, I am one with God, I'm one with all people. I changed that. It used to be I am one with all men, but women too. I am one with all people. I am one with all life. I am one with the one. I am one with God. I am one with all people. I am one with all life. I am one with the one, because there is only one. There's only one power, one presence in the entire universe. And that's not something that we hope to get to participate in. That is something that we already are born into participating in. We're not trying to earn our way to the favor of it. We're just trying to remember that we're already part of the favor. And so I hope that a song like I Am the Place Where God Shows Up helps turn that knowledge on for all of us collectively in this room, and then we carry that out into our neighborhoods and into the world and other places as well, in that shared celebration of something like that. The title Pay Attention for today came up a couple of months ago when one of the chaplains at my church was doing a guided meditation, and she said something about pay attention, and I thought of it immediately in the multiple different ways. Like, it is really important in the way that most of us probably think of what that means, to pay attention to what's going on around you, to, if you're driving, please pay attention to, right? That kind of paying attention. But then what we teach in Unity, when we start looking at metaphysics, where everything goes into our own thinking and our feeling. And somebody sometimes will say, well, that sounds like a selfish philosophy. And it's like, no, what it's saying is, I'm the only one that I have control on. So I've got to get this lined up first so that I can help everybody else. See, I can't give you something I do not have. Now, we already have all the good stuff, but we have to consciously choose to use it and consciously choose to recognize that we have it before you can give it to somebody else. So you're like, well, so-and-so down the street's feeling bad. Why are you sitting around trying to make yourself feel good? Well, you don't think I'd walk in there with a frown and help them out, do you? Right? So it's like taking that time to pay attention to how am I thinking, how am I feeling, and when you're having the not so happy thoughts, that's cool too. It's not good to be like, oh, I'm not going to do that. It's like, all right, well, let's just take a moment to then put some affirmations to that. Let's take a moment to use our denials and our affirmations. And the denial isn't, oh, well, this problem, this challenge doesn't exist. It's this problem, this challenge doesn't hold any power over me. And then the affirmation of because da-da-da-da-da. Well, I can't give you the affirmation when I didn't name the challenge, right? But I recently had I talk all the time, and I learned this from Della first. If you've got a friend in the hospital and you can't get yourself beyond, oh, poor them, don't go see them because you can't help them. They don't need you to help them get sick. They already did that on their own. We all, found our way, right? They need you coming in saying, I know you're not, don't even say, I know you're not feeling good. But you can acknowledge where they are. Say, I know that you are where you are, but you sure do look good today for being there. Or they may not look good. Don't lie to them. Say, I love at least seeing that inch of the smile that's in there. The whatever. Go in with the good stuff. Affirm them of the good stuff. Right now, our third quarter spiritual prosperity book isn't an obvious prosperity book. We're using Johnny Coleman's book, Open Your Mind and Be Healed. And so we're reading about Johnny having a very similar path as Myrtle Fillmore had, of which really started the entire Unity movement, which was Myrtle finding the power of healing yourself and using affirmations to do that. And Johnny really did the very same thing. And then Johnny tells a story of Della, who had an aneurysm on the set of The Tonight Show, and then she's at the hospital, and they're like, well, 93% of people that have what you have die. And Della said, well, tell me about the other 7%. And they said, well, but I need you to understand. She said, what I need to understand is the other 7%. If you can't talk about them, go find somebody else and get out of my room. And that was to the doctor, right? Right, and so, but it's about being in that place of like, it wasn't saying, hey, the other 93% of this thing that's going on doesn't exist. It's just not gonna have hold on me. It's not gonna shut me down. Whatever your thing is. Like if you use these big examples, when Johnny Coleman went to Unity Village to start her training, she had a doctor that said she had 6 months to live. To my knowledge, I'm sure there's somebody out in the world that knows it, but to my knowledge, for the most part, she never named what the condition was they said was going to take her out in 6 months because she wasn't willing to give it the power of a name.
Right on.
So, but that's not, again, I'm not encouraging you to be like, oh, well, like, I take medicine for diabetes. Sometimes I slip up and say I'm a diabetic because that's the vernacular of how we speak. But then I got to shift that up and say, but I'm great. I use this in ways to eat healthier, and then I feel better than I felt when I didn't eat the foods that I now eat because of the condition. Right? So it's like, I'm not trying to say that there's not something going on in my body that I don't take medicines for something that I do take medicines for, that, and so I'm not saying, oh, well, just go affirm yourself out of that. Like, there's God in the affirmation, and there's God in the medicine, and in the doctor that prescribed it, and in the pharmacist that fulfilled it, and in all the other pieces. When I was first diagnosed back in 2011, I started hiking and eating right. I dropped 20 pounds in a month. I was taking full credit because I didn't know the medicine was helping me lose the weight. But then there was this one day that I was up. We used to go on Wednesday night to Della's house in Bel Air, and we would study different books. And I was up there, and I was telling her all this good stuff I was doing, and I mistakenly at that time was using this affirmation that all this walking that I was motivated to doing, that I was staying off the needle. And Della smiled and put her hand on mine, and she said, what you're doing is wonderful. You should keep doing what you're doing. But if the time comes that you need a needle, I need you to know that God is in that needle and in the medicine that's going to go through the needle and in everybody involved, including the people that created the needle in the first place. Right. So that there is no spot of it that God is not, right? So, see, I told y'all these were suggestions. None of that's here. So when I started doing some research on what I wanted to talk about paying attention intentionally, like really, so the other piece, really the inspiration of why to talk about this at all was the kind of the third thought of how one pays attention, which is using your attention as currency. That you are paying your attention towards what it is you want to experience, towards what it is you want to manifest. Your attention energetically is fertilizer, and it will grow more of whatever you give it to, whatever you feed with it. So, the saying on that is, whatever you have your attention on has its attention on you. You can't, I didn't plan on doing a healing talk, but we're still there. So you can't get well by saying, I'm going to get well from this disease.
Right.
You can get well by saying, I am whole, I am perfect, and I'm complete. Yes. My body's catching up with me right now in this moment. I am whole, I am perfect, I am complete. I had a time when I was living in LA that I was check to check, and now I kept good credit the whole time, but it was hard work for a number of years. And when I had learned all this new thought, I hit the point of being mad at me. Because I believe we manifest the lives that we lead. Now, some people will jump in and say, well, that sounds like you're blaming a patient for their disease. I do think that we participate in manifesting an illness that we are in. But that's not to find the fault. It's to recognize the power. Because if we got there, then we can get to wherever else we need to go, or we can do the maintaining. It's not about fault, it's about the power.
Yes.
Now, in that time of the financial challenge for me in Los Angeles, I was so mad because I was like, I'm working these principles. And I was going to Della's house on Wednesdays, and I was going to choir rehearsal on Thursdays, and I was there every Sunday. And then my day job, I worked for the home office for religious science. And their ministers were hiring me once a month to come sing in their churches, right? And then one of my friends, I was a regular extra on the TV show Private Practice. One of my other regular extras, she was a nurse, I was an orderly. She was in the process of studying to become a minister through Course in Miracles. So I was getting new thought in all these different ways, and still, well, now which of these bills can I pay this week? So I was mad. And then I realized years later that the problem was that even when I thought I was working the principles, I was like, we're getting these bills paid today because I want this off my back. Well, I couldn't get it off my back as long as I kept talking about the back, as long as I kept paying attention to the back. So you can just say, I'm getting this challenge taken care of without then acknowledging. See, that's why we say denials, then affirmations. See, I was affirming and then denying, which meant I was ending by giving my attention to what it was I claimed that I wanted to get rid of. And you can't get rid of it that way. So that's where this comes in. The encouragement is to use your attention as currency, to pay your attention to where it is you want it to be, to what you want to experience, to what you want to manifest in your life. We on the same page?
Perfect.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
See, I turn these timers on purpose. So, all right, so here's a couple of different things I wanted to say from the research that I did. In a Harvard Business Review article that was titled, "To Control Your Life, Control What You Pay Attention to." And they quoted from the 1890 book, The Principles of Psychology, Volume 1, that William James wrote, "My experience is what I agree to attend to." My experience is what I agree to attend to. And in that, they went through to explain that our attention determines our experiences, and our experiences determine the life that we live. So, I wasn't just off on a spiritual tangent. In 1890, the psychology people said this, right? I also came to a new realization that's helped me a lot recently. I'm going to say most of us in this room's heard the mention in spiritual lessons of the mustard seed and how you only need a mustard seed's portion of faith to make a difference, right? I went on that for the longest time, and I heard stories and used some myself about, do you know how tiny a mustard seed is, and do all that. But here's the real lesson that it took, I think, some NPR story that I was listening to. Mustard, if you grow it, if it is growing in your yard, is an invasive plant, meaning it will take over and grow to a gigantic amount, this tiny little bit, if you don't pull it, right? It will take over. So that's the mustard seed lesson. It's not about the size of the seed. It's about the power of the seed. If you will just allow a little bit of that positivity, if you will just allow that little bit of faith in the moment that seems hopeless, that will be invasive if you allow it to take root and grow.
Yes.
So the other piece, I'm now scanning through here the things I want to make sure I hit, right? The other thing I'm in Vegas for, and when I was saying, hey, I've got flexibility when I come, but I want to come to Vegas, for a few years I've been working on what I call a writing project. The truth is, I'm not writing anything, I'm just researching for years now, and I'm really doing what I call collecting puzzle pieces, right? And I started with, some stories I heard from Della about being a singer in Las Vegas in the 1950s, and hearing stories from Debbie Reynolds when she was performing with Sammy Davis Jr. in Las Vegas in the 1950s, when they finished rehearsing, and then she said, well, which room are you staying in, Sammy? And he's like, they won't let me stay here. And she's like, what are you talking about, right? So that time in Vegas when the black celebrities were paid their proper celebrity salaries, but in hotels they weren't allowed to sleep in or eat in, or right there. So there's lots of stories in that are sad, and invitations of mad, and definitely invitations of shaking your head at stupid, and all that stuff, right? But then you get these little sparks of inspiration. So in 1952, Josephine Baker was performing at the Hotel Last Frontier. 52, Vegas was desegregated, or at least they put it on paper, and started in 1960, right? So this is 8 years before that. Josephine said, I'll come perform at your hotel if you allow the audience to be integrated. So they agreed to it. They signed the contract. She gets there. She's ready to perform. She's backstage in the dressing room, and she hears white people are sitting down in the audience. Black people are still outside. They won't let them in. And so she calls. She said, "What's going on?" And they're like, "Oh, you didn't really mean we can't do that." She said, "I have a contract. Let them in, or I'm not going out."
Right.
So they let them in. So she's like, "Cool. We've won something. We've done something." Night 2. She's backstage. White people are sitting down. She hears black people back outside. They won't let them in again. She calls the people again. She's like, "We already gone over this." They said, "No, we fulfilled our obligation in the contract. We let them in last night." So Josephine said, "Okay." She went out on the stage. I believe there was a chair involved that she sat down in, and she said, "Well, folks, I'm fulfilling my obligation right now, which is to appear on stage. If you like the rest of the show, you're going to need to let the rest of the audience in that's still out there."
Nice.
And they let him in, and they let him in for the rest of the time. So that's to say that when you're in the midst of what you want is impossible, and it was still for most people impossible for 8 more years, that it doesn't have to be impossible for you just because it's impossible for somebody else.
Right.
Until you're prepared to shift those letters around and pull the I am away and stick a hyphen there and make it I'm possible, then it is impossible for you. But I learned from somebody, I'll wrap up on this, that I was introduced to New Thought from an actress. I used to work in the production office in the 90s for Guiding Light, the soap opera. And one of my friends played Beth, one of the Beths. And she had gone to the North Hollywood Church of Religious Science. And then she introduced me to Louise Hay. And she said, "Look," she said, when I was still trying to make it before I ever booked a job that paid my bills as an actress, I was sitting around doing that same negative actor chatter that everybody else did. Well, you can't get a job without an agent. It's so hard to find an agent. I mean, no, and rather than trying to be their teacher and enter the conflict of having that now argument that it would be, she just nodded and thought to herself, "I'm sorry that that's the truth for them, but I'm glad it's not true for me."
Right.
Because that's where you start, right? She couldn't help them and she couldn't prove them wrong until she actually did it. So there was no reason to say, "Here, let me introduce you to some truth principles you're not using," because they'd have shut her down. They weren't ready. She didn't have the proof for them yet. And she just lived her truth. Josephine lived her truth. The mustard seed lives its truth. We all can live our truth. And you can be in the midst of one and then say, "Oh, I got this other truth." And here's the good news: just because you showed up at one party doesn't mean you have to stay. You can move on. You're in control of you all the time. In fact, you're the only one that can control you. And if you're busy trying to control somebody else, your bus, otherwise known as life, is now running without a driver down the road. Hop back in your own driver's seat and mind your business, and don't let anybody else drive your bus either. Pay attention to your own life. Thank you. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you, and I behold the Christ that is in you. So I think now's our time for our meditation, and which is nice. I'll use the other part of this that I didn't touch. Which is the other way of describing, like, intentionally paying attention is the practice of mindful meditation. So let's take the time to have that mindfulness, which is simply to not needing to put emotion on it, maybe paying attention to an emotion that came up, but allowing it to float away, not thinking about yesterday or 5 minutes ago, not thinking about lunch, just thinking of this moment right now and whatever you see, hear, smell, taste, touch in this moment. And let's enjoy this moment together. this place, for these beautiful souls that surround us, for these teachings that enrich our lives, for the comfortable seats that we are sitting in right now, for the nice cool air from the air conditioning, for the beautiful sounds coming from the keyboard, that sound that vibrates deeper into my soul, allowing me to feel deeper, and then to bring those deep feelings out, that peace, that love, that joy of life. Gratitude of this space, of this time. I'm so grateful to recognize that I am the place that God will always show up in my life, in my world, in my affairs. For as we all collectively say for ourselves, I am one with God. That makes me one with all people, including the beautiful souls that surround me right now. It makes me one with all life, in all shapes, all forms, where I see and recognize love. For I am, we are, one with the one, for there is only one. And so it is.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to to be here.
John Jones,
What's it called? November or something like that?
beautifully sung.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I think Danny Rio next time will add his voice to the Daniel Nahmod tune. Yeah, I think so. That'd be good. If he will, if he's willing.
So, I'm gonna transition from Transformation Station to Wally White. Wally, I love the word New Thought, and the reason is it's such a great memory for me. Because I too, I never went to church, but in 7th grade, my stepfather started to make some money, so my mom was like, "You're gonna go to private school." Pentecostal Christian school was my introduction to God. It took some time to get over that. But when I came to a New Thought church, it was Mary Morrissey's in Portland at the time. I didn't know what she was talking about, but I wanted to figure it out. And that's the invitation for all of us, if you're new or if you've been doing this for a while, is the invitation is always here. So thank you. This is our time for our offering. And if you'll hold your gift in your hand, we have an affirmation that we'll say together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you. And so it is. You can bring your gifts.
2, 3.
So if you'll pray with me in this affirmation. There is a knowing beyond what we think we know. And out of this field of pure potential, there is nothing ever that can keep you from your greatest good. Love flows easily, and the gratitude of what I am and what I have, I am grateful for, moment to moment. And the universe responds easily to bring us our blessings of abundance, of pure, vibrant health, and relationships that contribute to our well-being. Thank you, God, that this is so. Amen.
And so in our closing, I'd like to invite Wally to come up because we would like to give you a blessing. We are so happy that you're here.
Very good.
And we love your life so much. And one of the things I want to ask you, what is it that is on your heart? What are you hoping to manifest in the next year for yourself, for your ministry, for the world?
Expanded peace.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Could we all rub our hands together? Wally White. Repeat after me. Wally White.
Wally White.
We love you.
We love you.
We bless you.
We bless you.
We behold the miracle that you are.
We behold the miracle that you are.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
All right, I left my notes. Well, here is the part where we stand and we have our affirmations. So please take a stand. I'll get my notes. Repeat after me. I am. 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 I am whole and complete. I am whole and complete. I live my truth. I live my truth. My experience is what I attend to. My experience is what I attend to. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God shows up. I am an author of the impossible. I am an author of the impossible. I am an unstoppable force of love in the world. I am an unstoppable force of love in the world. I am. I am. You are. You are. We are. We are. One with the one. One with the one. And so it is. And so it is. Have a fabulous week.
Peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. God has created, and we all are free. Let us walk it together in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my God is found. Take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it
Protection together. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. We are the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. We are the presence of God. And wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a fabulous week, everyone.
Cool, baby.